What's up, Black Sheep family? Welcome to Nino's Corner. I feel pretty good today. My dad's pulled through for like the fourth or fifth time in this scary month. The prayers are working. He's up and talking right now, cracking jokes with the nurses. It's been a wild ride. I mean, an emotional, hellish ride. We're not out of the weeds yet. I don't know where this is going, but I can't wait to go see him after this podcast and go visit with him a little bit and talk to him. So that's where we're at right now with that. So just briefing you on that. And then I'm going to do a podcast with my sister probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday when we get some time and give an update on everything, the hell that we've been through in the ICU. And really appreciative of some of the nurses and doctors that are there in this particular hospital. So it's been a wild ride. Folks, Jerome Corsi will be joining me today. It's going to be a knockout podcast as always. Also, what about Dane Wigington on Tucker Carlson? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. So props to Dane, man. I've had Dane on my show many times talking about the tic-tac-toe in the sky with the planes, the trails. And I got to say, man, I am so happy to see him on bigger shows. So that makes my heart jump for joy, man. I'm so proud of that guy because finally that means the word's getting out and we're saving the planet. But I just talked to Dane, and I think he's going to come on my show again pretty soon. So props to Dane. Amazing you got on Tucker Carlson. Folks, hit the notification button. Like, share, and subscribe. Also, Venmo, 𝗬-ROD1977, 𝗬-ROD, 𝗬-ROD 1977. I appreciate you if you appreciate me, and I appreciate everyone, especially if it's just a prayer. Wow. I'm not saying I'm out of it yet, but man, oh man, I can't wait to go talk to my dad right now. When the lights go out on Amazon, please leave a honest review. That's a book I wrote on my iPhone with my thumb. I got tendonitis in my thumb. Yeah, I wrote that entire book. No ghostwriters, none of that. That's right from me. It's from my heart. All that entire book. Also, the Mexican Mix, my mom's book about my dad, basically. That's on Amazon as well. Please leave an honest review. Also, Noble Gold, folks. You better get your gold. You better. I'm stocking up. The Fed's out of option, rates cuts, money printing, balance sheet reversals. They call it policy, but it's really panic. Inflation is eating savings. The job market's slowing, and confidence in the dollar is fading fast. For decades, the Fed built the house out of paper, monopoly money, and now it's starting to burn. That's why smart investors are moving to what's real, gold and silver. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. Noblegoldinvestments.com. Wealth protection simplified. I know Colin Plume. He's a great guy, awesome person to be friends with. He's really helped me out in my diversifying my funds. Folks, X is Nino Boxer. PatriotWear.com. Being right there, get a shirt, a hat, some socks, some chanclas. No, we don't have chanclas, but maybe we will at some point. Nino's Corner.tv. Today is Ringside with Nino. So I'll meet with my Black Sheep family today on Nino's Corner.tv where we war game together, talk about things. Just a cool conversation. It's kind of like what I do now since I've been sober. Folks are coming up on 6 years sober. I can't believe I've made it this far, and I don't think I'm never going back. So, even if I'm being tested in these extreme conditions with my father, I haven't broke. So, just saying that's pretty awesome. And my Black Sheep family keeps me going. So, thank you guys, and I'll see all of you today at 5 p.m. Check your emails for the Zoom link. We'll all be there together. So, I love all of you. Thank you. Also, the General's Tent, November 20th with Mary Fanning. Mary Fanning's going to bring on, I think, a surprise general or two to talk with us, and that's the General's Tent, 5 p.m., November 20th. That's going on. Nino's Corner.tv, the news before the news. We're about 6 months to a year ahead of schedule on everything. Juano Saban is up there. Oscar Ramirez with the border report. I'm going to be tapping into that guy a lot more often because, boy, his knowledge is like a gold nugget. It's great. Sheila Holm is up there. Joshua Reed is going on today. Talking with him at 11 today. Scott McKay's the Patriot Street Fighter is coming on my channel. We're going to be talking about I guess, a lot of obviously deep state politics, but also life after death, his experiences with his father. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. It's going to be a really in-depth conversation. Can't wait to have that convo. Also, JJ Carroll, and you guys remember the ShamWow guy, the ShamWow Vince. Vince is coming on my channel. He's actually a very big Patriot. I don't know if you guys remember the infomercials with ShamWow. Anyway, I like the guy. He's coming on. Can't wait to have him on. He's coming on soon. And without further ado, folks, you might want to turn it down or turn it up, baby. Yeah. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah, baby. Let's go. Yeah, that's my calling card. You know how I do it. I always turn it down. Then why do you even tune in? So Pam Bondi and DOJ turning up the heat. Everything's a strategy. Everything. As you know, everything is strategic. Yes, I believe even this government shutdown, we are forcing the Democrats to surrender. And this is just one of the phases of the operation in my mind. From my understanding, once this situation clears, more indictments are going to be coming out. It's going to be like the floodgates. And Jerome Corsi is going to be talking about this. I'm also expecting Trump to declare a national emergency following the signing of an executive order regarding the elections. I'm also anticipating this. Look, let's give myself a window here. Before, obviously, November 2026, I think it's going to come much sooner because there needs to be enough runway, as Juanito has said, for them to work out the kinks and all that so you can go vote. So this will be done. So, whoa, I lost my place here. This obviously needs to be done before November 2026. I believe it will come after the indictments are released, but it needs to be done so that we have enough runway time for all the kinks and details to be worked out as we head into voting time in 2026. This will be done, and the Democratic Party will cease to exist in 2028, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's educated opinions. You hear that, Gavin Newsom? You hear that, buddy? You're going down, buddy. There'll be zero tolerance for what's coming. And I know Jerome's going to touch on this right now. So the shutdown right now, as it stands, the bill still needs to pass the House of Representatives, which is expected to vote very soon. I don't know if it's today or tomorrow. After the House passage, it must be signed by the president to take effect. So until those steps are complete, the government operations have not fully resumed. So we're waiting on that. And remember, folks, this is just a temporary. Opening. It's probably gonna shut down again in January. So it is what it is. And look, Adam Schiff. It looks like he's next on the chopping block. A lot of articles are coming out. They're anticipating the indictment right now. So how Adam Schiff could shake the Senate? An Adam Schiff indictment. President Donald Trump's retribution campaign. They got to say it like that. President Trump's retribution campaign against his political adversaries could soon hit the Senate. The lawmakers are already bracing for impact. After securing the indictments of former FBI Director James Comey of New York and Attorney General 𝗬𝗏𝗓 James, Trump has his sights set on Adam Schiff, the California Democrat who, as a member of the House, managed the president's first impeachment trial. If Schiff ends up indicted on allegations of mortgage fraud, and let me tell you this, Jerome Corsi knows all about this. Sean Taylor and Jerome Corsi were the first to bring this to light, and I know that for a fact. You're going to hear it right from the guy who brought it to light. This is the first guy, him and Sean Taylor. So nobody knows about this more than Jerome Corsi and Sean Taylor. Adam Schiff solicits dollars for legal defense fund and builds an expansive political operation prepared to do damage control around any potential charges. Schiff's Democratic colleagues in Congress are increasingly anxious about their own vulnerability. They are also frustrated with the unwillingness of Republican senators to speak out on Schiff's behalf. This guy's going to drown, folks, right here. He's done. So let's bring on Jerome Corsi right now. Let's not wait any longer. Jerome, thank you for joining me, sir. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's great to be back with you, Nino. Thank you.
Man, so nobody knows about this. In my opinion, I couldn't pick anybody better to talk about this specific indictment with Schiff and mortgage fraud than you. Obviously, Sean Taylor's done a lot of work, but you've been discussing things. You're in touch with Sean Taylor constantly, correct?
Yes, I've been in touch with him for months.
Okay,
and we've been reporting on it on 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗹, our website, GOD, no apostrophe S, and you spell out the word five, FIVE, stones, plural. 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗹.com has a lot of information about Sean Taylor.
So this indictment, when is it expected to hit? I mean, what indictments are coming out right now? When's the Adam Schiff indictment coming? When is all this supposed to hit? I've heard this month. I've heard that it could be as soon as this month.
Well, it's first of all, the grand juries are convening and people are being subpoenaed.
Okay,
that's the first indication something's going on. And so Schiff, there's a lot in the news about him, and the mortgage fraud is the big Democratic fraud. The Democrats have learned how to play the banks for money laundering and then to get the money out through various kinds of mortgage fraud. Now, there's variations of the mortgage fraud. Sometimes like 𝗬𝗏 James or Adam Schiff, and Swalwell evidently is also under the gun for this. They don't have a primary residence in the district for which they run for office, for instance. Okay, or they have gotten mortgage loans which are far in excess of the value of the property. Okay, so the Democratic Party, the fundamental understanding, and this is the research we've done, and you know, we've raised a good deal of money. We need to raise more to get this really fully investigated. But the Obama and Biden opened the border with Honduras in 2014, and they knew who they were dealing with. They were dealing with the president of Honduras, who was a member of the Sinaloa drug cartel. And they all wanted the same thing. They wanted to bring drugs into the country, cocaine. They had made a deal with China for fentanyl to come into the country, and they were bringing in unaccompanied minors.
Oh.
So 100,000 unaccompanied minors start showing up at the border, and they get picked up and disappear into the child sex trade or organ harvesting of children, which is extremely profitable. Okay, now the Democrats did this. This was the Democratic Party and the intelligence agencies have become a criminal money laundering operation on the scale of trillions of dollars. Okay, and the money that comes in through the border when it gets into a bank, and if you think about it for a minute, you can't run a drug cartel without a bank, because you can't drive around with a semi-truck full of $100 bills.
That's why they were using banks in Canada?
Banks in Canada. Used 3 banks in Canada, and TD Bank, which is Toronto Dominion, appears to be one of the major banks they used.
Wow.
Okay, and so the money comes into the banks. Now, money laundering, and I caught HSBC money laundering with the drug cartels in 2011. And they were fined $1.9 billion by the Department of Justice at that time. They were money laundering has several phases to it. First of all, you've got to have illegal money. Okay, so you got to have piles and piles of money from cocaine, fentanyl, child sex trade, organ harvesting, and you're awash in cash. So you got to get it into the bank. That's number one. You got to place it in the bank. Once it gets placed in the bank has to internally account for it in a way that it disappears.
Jeez.
Okay, so in other words, you can get phony, and there's Obama with all his cash. And by the way, there are pallets of Obama cash available for sale at discount.
What?
Internationally. Yeah, there
How's
are.
that? Oh, just because they know where this is going.
They know where it's going. And a lot of the money that Obama sent over to the Middle East and those piles of cash. Remember, he sent all that money to Iran.
How do you have money for sale? I don't know how that works. What do you mean? Like
they get pallets and pallets of cash, and they can't get them into the banking system
because it's dirty.
It's dirty.
So they what?
So they sell it at 80%. Sell it, 80% of the dollar will get.
Because it's useless. They know it's going to be useless. Wow.
they discount cash to get it into someplace where they could use it.
If that's what's happening, Jerome, we all know where this is going, and it's going fast.
Yeah.
So do you think that Adam Schiff is going to be really the first break in the ice to make this just everything avalanche?
I think you're going to see a bunch of them happen almost simultaneously, because I believe you're finding that also. I mean, there's 3 investigations going on right now, which the one that pleases me maybe the most. I wrote this book, Partners in Crime, on the Clinton Foundation. And now it turns out that the Department of Justice is investigating Foundation, finally, which was just a big cash machine. They'd get every criminal oligarch in the world who wanted a deal of some kind or other, and they'd say, okay.
I had 𝗬𝗏 on talking about his son. I think he works for private airlines and flies by himself a lot now, and they're separate because he's getting ready to go down, basically, is what.
Well, first of all, had a private email server when she was Secretary of State, which is against the rules. You're supposed to do all your official business over a government computer, so it can be monitored. A private email server that she put State Department business on, and her assistant, 𝗬𝗏 was putting some of those emails, including classified emails, on her Yahoo Mail account.
Jeez.
Okay, so anybody could read them with their password and email. What they would do is, Bill Clinton was running the Clinton Foundation at that time, and so they would get in messages for Pinochet, who was a oligarch in Ukraine, was one of the first to say he had, really hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and he was willing to donate them to the Clinton Foundation, but he wanted certain favors done in Ukraine.
That's why that's so important, isn't it?
And so that Hillary would send emails to Bill, and Bill would coordinate with Pinochet. Pinochet would invest in the foundation. Hillary would then grant the policy favor that Pinochet wanted granted. And it's bribery. It's a bribery scheme.
Right.
Paid to play.
Pay to play.
Pay to play.
So let me ask you this, Jerome. I've not been really able to get a hold of Sean Taylor. He's doing some important work right now, right?
Well, Sean, last time I talked with Sean, I brought Sean's case into the Department of Justice. I made a major effort to get the attention of several people in the Department of Justice, and they took 𝗬𝗏 on as a criminal case. The Department of Justice affirmed to me that they are investigating 𝗬𝗏. Okay, then I said, okay, we've got to get to talk to Sean Taylor, because we wanted Sean Taylor protected as a witness protection program or something to protect him. And so the last time I called Sean, he said he could no longer do interviews because now he's so deeply into this is from our website, God's Five Stones. This is all about 𝗬𝗏. And he's so deeply into working with the federal government that now they don't want him talking to anyone except them.
That makes sense to me, and I'm fine with that. It's just great to know that, folks, I got to say, Nino's Corner.tv was on this almost 2 years ago, talking about this. And Sean Taylor was one of the first guests we had to bring this to light. And then I came to the understanding that he was involved with you, Jerome, and you really helped him spring him forward. So, I mean, it's amazing that I've gotten to know people really deep in the trenches that are really paving the way for victory,
Well, your show is very important in that regard. You're on the cutting edge of a lot of topics, and your audience also supports and donates, which is tremendous. Makes it those of us who are out there. Your audience is very generous.
They're great. They're the black sheep family, Jerome.
Well, and you recruit them, and we suddenly have enough money to continue. I mean, it's a constant struggle, but this is critical because all this dirty money that Obama and Biden engineered into the system consciously in a decision to get this illegal money flowing comes into the banking system. The CIA monitors it. The CIA backs off everybody on the border, so the Border Patrol can't do its job. These children show up and they disappear. no legal procedures are being followed down on the border. It's just a catch and release.
Yeah.
You get a slip of paper, say come back for a hearing, which nobody ever does.
It's pathetic.
Okay.
Pathetic.
And then the money gets into the banking system, and suddenly at Act Blue, what Sean finds is that the head of Act Blue would buy $1 million house in Palo Alto, California, and get $30 to $50 million in mortgage loans on that house, which were showing up in LexisNexis as a transaction, but they don't show up in the deed because it really wasn't a mortgage loan. It was just booked as a mortgage loan internally in the bank to get it out of the bank into their hands. And once that mortgage loan, that bogus mortgage loan was made, it was erased in the bank records.
So is this bigger than USAID, you think?
This is trillions of dollars. I'll read you a report I have here on my desk about TD Bank, and I've collected a whole file of this. I'm intending to write an article here for American Thinker on it, but just let me read you some of the articles I pulled on this. They're shocking. One on, in particular, on TD Bank. Let me just find it here. Okay. Yes. TD Bank, this is a Department of Justice Criminal Division press release right here that I'm reading from. And it's dated October 10th, 2024. And it says from January 1, 2018 to April 12th, 2024. So that's the, basically the last 2 years of Trump's first term in office and all of Biden's presidency. TD Bank failed to file money laundering reports on $18.3 trillion in transaction activity.
18.3 trillion with a T?
With a T.
That's insanity.
Trillion.
So this is how they're funding everything.
$18.3 trillion.
So this is it, Jerome. We have found out the core of their funding right here.
Yes. This is where they get their money. All the NGOs get it. I'm just funded through some of this money too.
So let me get you another article here. The U.S. is at risk of another long shutdown from January 30th after paper-thin deal. Congress inched closer to opening up the government on Monday after passing a funding bill. However, another shutdown could come in the next months. Do you look at this, Jerome? Is this the Democrats basically surrendering?
Well, the Democrats are never going to surrender, but the Democrats they're desperate, and they're called to act up against the Turning Point USA in Berkeley. The cities are going into a nightmarish effect of mobs in the cities, criminal activity running rampant. And, whether we have another shutdown or not, the Democrats are, as far as I'm concerned, they can shut down the government permanently.
Right, but Trump's using this as leverage against them, correct?
Yes, and he's winning. He's now exposing that Obamacare was a failure. That's getting exposed. He's been firing employees out of these departments that we don't even know the numbers yet that he's fired, gotten rid of. But the point is that just as I continue to read through all of these articles, I've got all other articles here about the subpoenas are coming up, by the way. Congress is investigating Act Blue extensively, and so is the Justice Department, because this was the Democratic fundraising powerhouse, and it was fueled by illegal activity on the border. And the Democrats were feeding themselves through child sex trade.
Right.
That's how the Democrats were making their money. Okay, and then the TD Bank Canada had to pay $3 billion and pled guilty to charges in the U.S. after allowing drug cartels and other criminals to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars in illicit funds. Prosecutors said the bank operated with inadequate guards against money laundering for nearly a decade, failing to act even when the staff flagged obvious cases of abuse, such as a customer making the daily deposits of $1 million in cash. That's TD Bank working with the drug cartels.
So is this all, Adam Schiff is going to be, like I said, the first big icebreaker. How long are these indictments going to take, Jerome? I mean, how long until this goes with what my audience wants to know, and I'm just going to say point blank, until this goes military?
Well, what I say is happening is that it's already going military. Trump is putting the troops into the cities, and he's rounding up the illegals, and he's trying to quell the criminal activity going on, robberies and stabbings in these cities, across the Democratic-run cities across the country. And if you take the cities out of the equation, almost every state in the union is conservative, is red. It's only the blue areas are the cities, okay, run by the Democrats.
Right.
Now, the problem is that, when the indictments are going to start coming, first watch the subpoenas from both the House and the House investigative activities and the Senate investigative activities, and then watch the subpoenas that come out of the Justice Department. Those subpoenas may come out of a state. For instance, you might get a attorney general in Florida or in Texas or in one of the states who's taking the lead on a particular investigation. And so they'll begin having a grand jury in Texas or wherever, and they'll call forward the national people they're investigating, Adam Schiff or whomever. And there's going to be not just 𝗬𝗏cia James and Adam Smith, there's going to be other mortgage fraud cases. Eric Swalwell.
This is going to link everybody together. This is going to tie everybody together and just throw them overboard, right? They're all going to drown on this.
And when it gets to Act Blue and you see the magnitude of it, also, by the way, here's another article. This was an article that it was in Natural News, but financial institutions flagged that $312 billion in Chinese money laundering networks came into the United States from 2020 to 2024 under Biden. So the Chinese have found that they can just put money into money laundering activities in the United States and get it wherever they want it to go illegally. Okay, so I mean, the banks under the Biden administration were the Democratic Party's funding machine, getting illegal money from foreign nations and illegal drug activities on the border. The child sex trade and the child organ harvesting trade is much more profitable than drugs. And the fentanyl is a deadly, deadly drug, highly addictive. And people are, the Chinese are happy to supply that into the United States.
So Jerome, as this transpires and this picks up speed, more indictments come in and all these things start really coming to the surface. I've been told that Trump is going to declare a national emergency at some point and sign an executive order related to before 2026 midterms, from what I'm understanding. Do you see that happening as well?
Yeah,
and is that when we're going to get back control of the ship right there?
That's largely my story. We broke that story on God's Five Stones.
Okay.
I had discussions with Peter Titkin, I've been working with since January on the voter and election fraud issue. And Peter has been in touch with the White House. It was Andrew Paquette's work that we found the algorithms in all these state databases.
Right, let's be careful here. We're going to talk more about that on .tv, but just because the fluff tube purposes, when we go into
it. But what I'm saying is
on that, it gets a little crazy here.
What I'm saying is that you've got President Trump has even come out publicly in the last 2 weeks since the election of Mondami and the elections that were lost in New Jersey and in Virginia, has come out and said that there is an executive order under it's being drafted.
Wow. Okay.
And I've had copies of various of the drafts that are circulating.
So let's get into what the deep state's next moves will be. Let me just read this commercial real quick, folks. In a recent clinical trial this year, women who took 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks saw an average of 25% reduction in eye wrinkle depth, a 9% improvement in skin elasticity, and a 29% book in skin hydration, proving collagen can visibly strengthen and rejuvenate skin from within. Folks, I'm telling you, you take collagen with the red light therapy, you're good to go. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is why I use today's sponsor, BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen, and I'm obsessed with the results. I just put it in my coffee, folks, every day. I'm obsessed with the results. It's giving my skin. BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen helps supercharge my skin using 5 premium types of collagen needed to help reduce wrinkles. I've noticed a smoother skin, more elasticity, more hydration, fewer fine lines, and a youthful glow. Plus, it also helps improve my joint health, bone strength, and connective tissues on top of my skin, so that way I can hit the gym longer. For a limited time, you can grab a bag of BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen for 51% off only at Health with Nino, baby. Plus, you'll also receive a free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life, a free ebook titled 14 Foods of Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee with free express shipping with your order. Go to Health with Nino. It's down there at the bottom, folks, and get started on looking your best. All right. So what do you think the deep state moves are from here? They know Trump's going all in. The indictments are coming out. Troops are being sent into the cities. What could they possibly do? I mean, they've got to – I would imagine they have to act quick, but they can't prematurely pull the trigger, right, Jerome? We got Newsom eyeing 2028, by the way, already doing his campaign. He's campaigning now for president. And so what's your thoughts on all this? What do you think the next deep state moves are?
Firstly, they've got to try to do something that's going to have a little more sympathy with the public, supporting, the gun-running boats coming out of Venezuela and wanting us to stop interdicting them and blowing them up. That's not, they're not going to get much sympathy for that. Support wanting to release the illegal immigrants that have been already arrested by ICE, that they're not going to get much sympathy for these kind of moves. So the Democrats are now going to pivot and say, we need to extend Obamacare.
Yeah, that's the card they're going to play, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to extend Obamacare. Look at all the people who are going to be hurt if we don't extend Obamacare. All the people are going to lose their insurance.
I've also been told by Oscar Ramirez, who did a border report, Oscar Blue Ramirez, that he told me that all the immigrants are there on hold. They're basically holding the line in Mexico right now for an invasion in 2028. He says if we don't have a proper person in place by 2028, it's going to be Biden 2.0, and they're all being told to hold the line and come in on 2028. They're not going back.
Well, the key is that the Democrats would like to think that the MAGA movement's going to go away. They would like to think it's temporary. They would like to think they're permanent. They've got control of the universities. And so therefore they say that, the cultural war has been lost to the MAGA traditionalists. And the colleges support Hamas. They support, the anti-Semitism is at an all-time high. They are wanting to talk about, this is the whole neo-Marxism, cultural Maoism, and anarchy. That's, I think, one of the most important books I've written, because it explains how you've now gotten past Marx. Marx failed. There was not a workers of the world revolt. So it morphed into the neo-Marxism attack on the culture of Marxism. And that's what Mondami's about. He's about the culture of Marxism. He wants to say that criminals are really the oppressed.
Jesus.
And that
defund the police.
Defund the police. And we need to have 9/11 calls answered by social workers.
That's insane. So the destruction of society, in other words.
And that's what they intend. They intend the cultural Maoism, which is, again, Mao destroying all the traditional values of China, the little red book and all of that. People don't remember it, but it was right after Mao took over, after the Great Leap Forward. They had the Cultural Revolution, and it descends into anarchy. But the whole point is to get it to descend into anarchy. They want to destabilize the society. That's what they do. They want to destabilize things.
So then their next move has to be, like you said, to destabilize society and cause chaos.
Yes.
Because right now it's breaking that Latin street gangs in Chicago are now ordering members to shoot on sight when ICE is conducting raids. DHS officials tell Fox. So this is insane. so they're now going to be opening fire on ICE agents. Now, I haven't seen this happen yet, but the orders have been given to open fire on ICE agents. You know that the governors and mayors are all working very hard for ICE agents to show their identity. In other words, that way they can be targeted.
That's right. The whole goal here is to suppress the activity of ICE so that it can't function. In other words, to alert the illegal raid is coming, to hide them, to do everything possible to deter ICE from its mission, and to fight ICE in the streets. Okay, so what Trump is doing now and moving towards doing is saying these are crimes. These people are going to be arrested and prosecuted. It's also going to be arrests and prosecutions over the way the states have been running elections. You're going to see much more of that. In other words, Trump was determined to come in and restore election integrity. That's one of his major objectives. And to expose what happened in 2020. And he won't forget that. He's also going to expose, and he's on that whole theme, and he's not going to, a whole series of pardons were issued. So all of the statements I made, including on your show about this, this Todd Blanche, B-L-A-N-C-H-E, who was the Deputy Attorney General running the Department of Justice, who was not a MAGA supporter, even though he was a lawyer who represented Trump in between times in office in the New York cases where they were trying to put Trump in prison. He was blocking the pardons. He was blocking the voter integrity issue. Well, he's evidently been moved aside. Pam Bondi's taking a more assertive role again. And now we're starting to see these subpoenas coming in on all three areas. We're seeing subpoenas on the coup d'etat from Obama, on the Clinton Foundation, and on Act Blue and the mortgage fraud issues. There's my book on coup d'etat. I wrote that in 2020. I was involved in it. They wanted to put me in prison because they said I had the tie to Julian Assange that would have made the Russian collusion theory valid. And I did not have a tie. They threatened they were going to put me in front of a jury. I would go to prison the rest of my life, or I could take a plea deal and say I lied. I did have a tie to Assange, which I didn't. I refused to take the plea deal, and they did not indict me.
You're a true patriot.
In fact, they closed down the Mueller investigation because I refused to take their plea deal.
Wow.
Had I taken the plea deal, they would have made their case against Trump. They would have impeached him and tried him for treason.
Are you
that
in
was
touch
their
with
plan.
Trump? Do you talk to Trump? I mean,
I've talked to Rudy Giuliani, and Rudy Giuliani affirmed that he and Trump saw my plea deal, and they agreed that if I broke, they were coming after Trump, and they had him. So my refusal to take the plea deal was critical to stopping the Russian collusion investigation. And that destroyed my 32-year marriage.
I'm sorry to hear that.
My wife had an affair, wanted me to quit politics. Well, I think God took her out of my life and put me back to work. So,
and also people can give to you on God's 5 stones, correct? They could donate there?
Yes, that's greatly appreciated because this has been a constant struggle.
You and my other guest, John Carmen, have had some trouble with women.
Well,
so a lot of people have sympathy over that, and they donate to you guys. So hopefully, folks, give to Jerome Corsi, help get him back on his feet.
It's a 32-year marriage. I was faithful to her, and she wanted me out of politics, wanted me to quit writing.
You can, I can give you some free therapy sessions from Sancho. Okay, I can get your fucking head right. Don't worry.
My head's okay. I accept. I don't hate her.
I'll be begging for you to come back. Okay.
No, and that's not going to happen. You don't get do-overs on certain things in life. It's
all right, Jerome. I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to finish here with my broadcast, folks. Go to God's 5 Stones, and we're doing another podcast Thursday, right? We're doing a.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're going to do that on .tv. So go to ninoscorner.tv. I want to bring you back on for a General's Tent also, Jerome, because you're doing such amazing work. So thank you. Go to gods5stones.com. Give the guy a donation. Help the man get back on his feet because help him pay for some therapy lessons. All right. Thank you, Jerome, so much. Huh?
Thanks, Nino.
You got it, my man. Thank you. All right, folks. So, interstellar object, 3i Atlas, those shows evidence of galactic cosmic ray. So this is not great news for all those hopeful scientists out there. A team studying the spectra of interstellar comet 3i Atlas has found evidence of galactic cosmic ray processing. While interesting and certainly worth knowing, it really isn't the best news that astronomers have received. It may be very disappointing, actually, because why? Well, it may not be alien after all. Yeah. So, in case you're just catching up, on July 1st, 2025, astronomers at the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System Atlas spotted a fairly large object shooting through our solar system on an escape trajectory. As the world's telescopes quickly turned towards it, it was established to be an interstellar object, our third confirmed interstellar visitor after, I don't know how to say this word. Observations of 3i Atlas soon showed that it was a comet with a distinct comma formed of ice and dust. There's been plenty of puzzling aspects to the object, from its development of a rare anti-tail to its unusual chemical makeup, but we should not be too surprised or be surprised given that it's only our third interstellar visitor and maybe a 10 billion year old time capsule from an earlier age of the universe. Studying it could tell us about the environment it came from, which may be very different from our own part of the galaxy. So I've had a lot of guests on talking about 3i Atlas and things of that nature. And me personally, I think it's going to be a big nothing burger. That's me personally, but I still like to bring out the info because you never know when the government's going to play the alien card. You never know. So that's why I cover these articles, folks. That's why. Tucker Carlson draws scorn for new details over demonic attack. I'm not embarrassed. Folks, I've had demonic attacks. I'm sure all of us have. They mainly came when I was drunk. But political commentator Tucker Carlson has prompted renewed scorn after providing more details about a supernatural attack he alleges happened to him in his bed in February 2023, months before Fox News. That's when it happened to me as well. I've said this many times. I was attacked by a shadow person who sat on my chest. It was like a child, and it was giggling, and it was laughing, and it was holding me down. So I know these things exist. I know for a fact these things exist. I saw this damn thing on my chest, holding me down, and it felt like it was sucking something out of my body, like out of my chest. It was crazy. During an extensive interview last Thursday, the fellow former Fox News host Megyn Kelly Carlson suggested the attack was in response to a positive supernatural experience he had the day before, during which he experienced love towards someone he hated. Wow. Culturally, I'm just not from a world where people are attacked by demons, Carlson said. He noted it becoming increasingly difficult to dismiss the demonic in the wake of Annunciation Catholic Church shooting and Charlie Kirk's assassination. I'm not embarrassed at all, and I don't care if I'm mocked, Carlson said. I don't get anything out of making this up, and I'm not making it up. Folks, these things are real, and I firmly believe that these things are real. There's Tucker on my friend Sean Ryan's show. Awesome. This is awesome. So to me, folks, I think Tucker's doing great work right now. He's really leading the charge right now in the awakening. I think I'm doing my part in the back end, but some people need need to be front and center. And I think the whole demonic attacks are real. It happened to me, and I know for a fact because this happened to me. This was I was probably about 28, 29 years old when this happened, and when it happened, I remember I woke up the next morning going, "Man, did that really just happen? Did I just witness an entity sit on my chest and hold me down?" I couldn't believe it, and I heard when it got off the bed a laughter into the den. Now I was staying at my parents' house at that time. My parents woke up the next morning and they said, "Who did you have here last night?" I didn't bring it up to them, nothing. This was still swirling in my head, like, did that really happen? And I go, why? And they go, we heard some child laughing in the den, some kid-like laughter in the den that woke us up, and the dog started crying. When they said that, I knew, stamp of approval right there. My skin crawled. I got goosebumps, and I was like, oh my Lord, that thing was real. Because you tend to think you're crazy, right? When something like that happens, like that's so out of your reality. And it happened, folks. It really did happen. So I believe Tucker Carlson. I know these things exist. I don't know what they are. I think they're demonic. I think they feed off our energy, emotions. That's why they're always keeping the world in distress and in war. They're negative entities that feed off our emotions. I really believe that. And that's why this planet is so difficult, because that's how they live, these negative entities. And I have a theory about gravity. I think, anyway, I can go into that on another show. But let's first get into what the fuck news in what the fuck news in what the fuck news. Well, it's finally here. AI has taken over music, like I said it would. Look at that. Look how fast this happened. AI country song rollicks to the top of U.S. sales on charts. So it's #1 right now, and it's AI. A country music song featuring a male singer's voice generated by artificial intelligence reached the top of the U.S. charts for the first time this week. Say goodbye to artists, man. I mean, we're going to have to be competing against AI. I haven't heard this song yet. I want to hear it. I want to see what it sounds like. Probably pretty good. Walk My Walk by Breaking Rust, an artist with no identity, but widely reported by U.S. media to be powered by generative AI technology, made it to the top spot on Billboard magazine's chart-ranking digital sales of country songs, according to data published Monday. AI-generated songs are creeping into the music charts in various scenes and country music, a uniquely American genre made famous by artists like Johnny Cash. What's going to happen to, like, the Grammys? What's going to happen? Are we going to give it to a robot? A fucking how is this going to work? Folks, I'm telling you, man, and I think this is the new frontier. AI is taking over everything. This, to me, is not good news. I don't, a lot of people, don't worry about it. It's algebra. It's no big deal. I think it's a big deal. I think it's a very big deal. Well, it depends who, David, it depends who controls the AI. Well, who's the purpose? Maybe that's why everything's so silent on the battlefront, because they know they already won. Maybe that's it. They know they won because they control AI. They're like, let them fight it out. We got the AI. We got it all. Let them believe in Trump. It's okay. Hey, it's all good. We control the AI. We control the technology. Whoa. Let the dollar crash. It's okay. We control AI. We control all the technology. Let them go. Let them go. See what I'm saying? I don't know. It sure does seem like the B system to me. I'm telling you, folks, we're in interesting times. Alex, are you there?
Interesting times indeed, Nino. Interesting times indeed.
Man, I'm telling you, dude. Things are getting wacky. AI, finally. Remember when Queen, what was the guy's name? Queen.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury. He said, music will lose its soul. Bro, it doesn't even have a soul anymore. It's done. We are now in that time.
Yeah.
He never anticipated AI. He just he saw the technology advancing, but I don't think he anticipated AI making songs, creating songs and singing them.
Yeah, I know. He might have been just talking about like computer music production, which we're already way past.
That's what he was. Yeah, I mean, dude, this is no more heart and soul, no more feeling.
It can do some cool stuff. Like there's a place for it, and I guess there's always going to be some portion of the population now till forever that just wants to be all in on AI, or just really or to them it's like whether it's AI or not AI, I don't care. I just enjoy it. Like there's going to be a new kind of like way that people grow up and like learn to process things and appreciate things. I heard a really cool someone made an AI version of Back in Black, by AC/DC.
Oh yeah,
but it was
one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, just so good. But then it was like a soul version. Like it was like,
wow,
like soul music, but it was really good. Look it up, people. Back in Black soul version. It's on YouTube. But so there's
someone put in here that they should have AI awards specifically just for AI music. I think that's probably what needs to happen.
That's probably where things are going. Like we need to have things need to be tagged as AI or used AI in the creation of it somehow. And maybe they'll just have to be separate categories. And
they're going to do this with movies. That you're not going to have directors anymore. You're not going to have actors. Dude, where is this going?
Well, I think there'll still be a desire for the human element, but it's not going to, some of it's going to just be replaced. Some of it is going to be, people are going to choose AI over the human
Have you noticed that there's not really any real human stories anymore? If you put it on Netflix, it's at least from what I can see on Netflix, it's all doom and gloom and end of world shit.
Yeah,
It's just like really negative dystopian stuff on Netflix, right? That's like the theme.
yeah, no, that's true, man. And Matt Walsh actually just went on an interesting covered this where like the last great movies ended and shows even ended around like 2006, 2007, 2008 was kind of like the last. And then after that, it's been kind of a decline. They're not really telling, new stories, and there's not like a shared culture around it where everybody went and saw these movies. Everybody like saw Seinfeld and Friends and stuff in the house. And even if you didn't really follow it, there was kind of this shared like sense of, I don't know, entertainment culture that's just not.
I mean, I remember when movies used to really make me like cry, laugh. I mean, I don't get that anymore. It's all like this weird negative dystopian, like, it's just negative. It's all negative. That's why I watch like documentaries on YouTube and shit. Like I turn on YouTube, like, oh, that looks interesting. And that's where I go now. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I go to YouTube for most of the stuff I'm watching now.
Me too.
Yeah, really. So that's what it is. Well, Alex, thanks for joining me. What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday today. So
all right, man. So what do you think about the 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗹 𝗠𝗶𝗶𝗃 show last night?
Oh God, it was so big, good, right? Last night. Yeah, phenomenal show.
That was huge. Folks, thank you for joining us. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, do the whole thing. I got Joshua Reed coming on. I got Ringside with Nino tonight on 𝗬𝗏𝐶𝗠𝗏.tv. Look, those of you that have signed up to 𝗬𝗏𝐶𝗠𝗏.tv and Ringside with Nino, just check your email. You'll be getting a Zoom. Probably you should have already got it. So I'll see everyone tonight at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Alex, I'm out of here later. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting, folks.